Okay, so we're going to go through the empirical molecular formula notes. The empirical formula is the simplest formula possible. It means it's been reduced. So we're going to look at the formula on it and see that it couldn't be simplified anymore. So this empirical formula comes from the molecular formula, which is the actual formula. It's on here on that. It will be on here. Sorry, I just realized it says this. So this should say not reduced on there with it on there. Now there's a chance on here that the molecular formula is the empirical formula. So you can have a molecule like NaCl, H2O that can't be simplified, and therefore the molecular formula is the same as the empirical formula from here. So in here, I've given you some examples here, and we're going to see if we can divide them. So the first one is C6H12O6. I see all of these are divisible by 6. They're divisible by things by 2 and 3 as well, but the biggest number you can divide by is 6. So I want you to rewrite this as CH2O. That's the empirical formula. You'll notice it's a 1:2:1 ratio. It can't be simplified anymore. The next one is C2H4. It can be divided by 2. So therefore that is CH2. H2O2 can be divided by 2 as well, so that can be simplified to HO. And then finally, K2S cannot be simplified on here. So on there, we're just going to leave that as K2S, so you can't divide it. So look and see if you can reduce it. If you can't, like the last one, the empirical formula and the molecular formula are the same. So here's some more practice. Ignore the review from yesterday part. So go ahead and try these on your own and see if you get my answers. So pause it here. So C2H2, they're both divisible by 2. So you should have said CH. And 2H6 are both divisible by 2. So that's going to simplify. The 2 is just on it goes away. The 6 becomes a 3, so NH3. And then CH4, 1 and 4 don't have anything in common. That can be whole numbers. So this will also just be CH4. All right, so I'm not going to have you practice this yet today, but I want you to go ahead and take the notes, and then we'll look at this next time. So to do an empirical formula, you're going to have to compare in moles. So we know that you can't compare grams, but you can compare moles. So you'll use the molar mass and convert these to moles. So for example, 53.2% mg, we're going to make that 53.2 grams of mg. So whatever the percent is, just replace the percent sign with the grams so you can do a gram to mole problem. Other times they'll just go ahead and give you it in grams. And then you're going to divide each molar quantity by the smallest number of moles on there, so get them all into moles and then divide. Usually when you do this, you get whole numbers. If so, make those the subscripts. So for example, let's say I did 2 problems and calcium's answer was 0.85. I did the other problem and chlorine's answer is 1.7. I compare 0.85 and 1.7. 0.85 is the smallest, so divide them both by 0.85. So anything divided by itself is just 1. So that means calcium would be 1, so it wouldn't be a subscript. Chlorine, if you divide it 1.7 by 0.85, will give you 2. So the formula would be CaCl2. Now you do need whole numbers, so sometimes you're going to divide and you're going to get an answer like 1.5, 2.33, 3.5, etc. You do have to even them out. Now if something's very close, like 2.98 or 3.02, that you can round to 3. But if it's more than a tenth, there's got to either something went wrong or you're going to have to fix it. So if you have a half and it needs to be a whole, you multiply it by 2, like 2 halves of a pie would be a whole pie. So if you get a 0.5, multiply both numbers by 2. If you get a 0.33, do it by 3. You can even do it with a quarter, to 0.25 would be 4 with it. So an example of a formula in this, so this means you won't have a 1 in your formula. So for example, if you're doing Fe2O3, you would get a 1 and a 1.5. You couldn't leave it that way, so you'd realize you have to double it. Your formula would be Fe2O3. All right, so follow along with me with your calculator here. So in this first one here, 50.1 grams of sulfur, 49.9 grams of oxygen. We're looking for the empirical formula. So the first thing you need to do is get your periodic table, and you're just going to do a simple gram to mole problem here. So 50.1 grams of sulfur, 1 mole of sulfur is 32.07 grams. Now when you're doing an element that's diatomic when it's by itself, that does not apply here. So just use the normal mass. So for O, we'll use 16.00. So the first thing I do is I divide 50.1 by sulfur's mass, which is 32.07. And we'll see here that my answer here is 1.56. 49.9 divided by 1 mole is 16.00, I get 3.12. So I'm going to compare these two numbers here, and I'm going to find which one is the smallest. So right here is the smallest. So I'm going to divide both of these by 1.56. So in the first one, that is the smallest. So divided by 1.56 is 1. So your first answer, you should always have 1, 1, because it's going to be something divided by itself. The second one here, 49.9, we're going to divide it by 16.00. That gives you 3.12. So divide that by the same number, the smallest, 1.56, and you get 2. So now I know this is S, and I know its subscript is 1. This is O, its subscript is 2. So S gets a 1 and O gets a 2. So right down here, your empirical formula is SO2. Okay, now we have one that's also in percent, so this one's going to take a little bit more work. So write down your 2%, 25.9 and 74.1. Then we're going to find both of their molar masses. So 1 mole of N is 14.01 grams. Again, don't worry about it being diatomic here. It's in a compound. Okay, O, we already looked that one up earlier. It's 16.00. Divide 1.85 and 4.63. So once again, we look for the smallest one here. So here I had 1.85. Here I had 4.63. This one's the smallest. Divide both by 1.85. So 1.85 divided by 1.85 is 1. 4.63 divided by 1.85 is 2.5. So again, if you have a decimal, if it's not within a tenth of the original number, you're going to have to adjust this. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 2.5 times 2 is 5. So to get a ratio that's still 1 to 2.5, but whole numbers, it's going to be 2 and 5. So I need to multiply by 2 here. And so then I see this is N, and it's now 2. O needs to be a 5. So N2O5. Okay, so again, if you got a 0.33, you multiply by 3. If you got a 0.25, you're going to multiply by 4. We won't give you any numbers in that, mainly with just the 0.5s and the 0.33s. All right, so sometimes they're not going to flat out give you the numbers, or they're going to give you in grams. So here we know it's potassium and sulfur. We know the whole compound is 13.65 and sulfur is 3.972. So the first thing we have to figure out is what's the potassium. So we're going to subtract those 13.65 and 3.972. Now either they used two different scales or they didn't write down a number or whatnot. So my calculator is going to tell me 9.678. I'm going to go ahead and round that to 9.68 because the one answer only has 2 decimals. So now I know that's potassium, and the molar mass of it is 39.10. I divide those, so 9.68 divided by 39.10 is 0.248. I already knew the other one was sulfur, and sulfur is 32.07. So then I am going to divide those 3.972 by 32.07. I get 0.124. So I look at these. One of these is 0.248. One of these is 0.124. This is my smallest here. So divide both by 0.124. So you can look at this now and probably figure this out. K is 2 and S is 1. Your formula is K2S. Now think about this. K is plus 1. S is 2 minus. This is what you'd expect, right? K2S when you crisscross. So you should feel good if you have an ionic compound that matches the actual charges. When I make them up, I always make sure they're real compounds, but covalent's harder because they can form in lots of different ratios here. All right, so we're going to stop here. We'll do the rest next time for that.